After her pole vaulting photo went viral, Alison Stoke became an internet star, but she has a much deeper story. Alison's journey as a world-class athlete, fitness model, and sportswear influencer has won over millions of fans, making her a role model for inspiring athletes and a fitness fan favorite. Beyond the track, she's distinguished herself by gracefully handling fame and inspiring with her fitness, health, and empowerment. Fans have followed her every move and see a multifaceted woman who has adeptly balanced her athletic career with a thriving sports media career. After setting records and collaborating with major sports brands, Alison Stoke's story shows resilience, ambition, and the ability to turn a brief fame into a lifetime of success. Alison Stoke has given her fans something extra to cheer for, whether you've followed her since high school or just discovered her incredible journey. Alison Stoke always dreamed of being a world-class athlete. There are a lot of athletes who have lofty goals of reaching the pinnacle of their respective sports. It could be making it to the Olympics, winning a gold medal, or earning a spot in the Hall of Fame. All of these things are significant accomplishments. Regardless of the circumstances, any athlete must put in a considerable amount of effort and dedication to outperform the other competitors. The same could be said about Alison Stoke. As a teenager, she had a strong desire to compete against the very best athletes in the world, and she quickly concluded that pole vaulting was the sport that would allow her to achieve this goal. Within a short period, everyone's attention was drawn to Alison. However, her ability to vault the pole did not make her a famous athlete. There's plenty of sporting inspiration from Alison Stoke's family. It's come to light that Alison is not the only family member with a passion for sports. Instead, it runs in the family. The rest of the young girl's family, particularly her older brother, always offered her a great deal of motivation and inspiration. When David Stoke was just a child, he discovered that he had a passion for gymnastics, and he quickly worked his way up through the ranks. Within a short period, David competed nationally and brought home many medals to mark his accomplishments. Alison's brother was an essential source of motivation for her, and she determined that she wanted to give the world of sports a shot. To her great regret, gymnastics was not her thing. Despite this, Alison decided to give pole vaulting a shot instead, and she hasn't looked back since beginning her journey in the sport. Everything else is history. Alison Stoke has no idea what drew her to pole vaulting. When you've had one of those moments where something seems to be destined to happen, have you ever experienced it? Are you someone who's been drawn to something for no apparent reason, but it's ultimately led to beautiful things? Within the realm of pole vaulting, it was the situation with Alison Stoke. She was still a child when she attempted the sport for the first time. Alison admitted that she had no idea why she thought trying it would be so interesting. On the other hand, Alison experienced a surge of adrenaline that she never experienced before when she picked up the pole and became airborne. Instantaneously, she had a strong desire to achieve the status of being among the most accomplished pole vaulters in the entire world. There was only one issue. Alison needed to find a way to balance her new passion with her academic obligations. To our great relief, she still saw hundreds of hours of practice. It wasn't long before Alison Stoke broke national pole vaulting records. When Alison participated in a national competition, it was revealed that she was only 15 years old at the time. That wasn't the end of it. Alison won the contest by breaking the record for the highest height she had ever cleared, 12.5 feet. Even though she was still a teenager at the time, Alison went on to demonstrate that she was a genuine force that could not be ignored. This was just the beginning of her accomplishments. Alison broke a new record the following year by clearing an astounding 13.5 feet. At the time, she was still enrolled in school. It turned out that the athlete was aware of everything necessary for her to achieve success. Even though Alison needed to put in significant practice time to improve her skills, she quickly discovered a highly effective method to maintain a healthy equilibrium. Being in her prime helped Alison Stoke continue to build her record. Even though several athletes have established themselves as leaders in their respective fields while still in their youth, they know they have a finite amount of time to compete in the most prestigious competitions. Attending all of the competitions and competing against the other members of the talent pool while also attempting to stay on top of your schoolwork is a challenging task. However, youth is one of the most essential components that must be present to achieve success as an athlete. It may not be long before our bodies rebel against and slow us down. To our great relief, Allison had not even reached her full potential when she became the topic of conversation in her town. Even though she tried to devote as much time and effort as possible, Allison continued to achieve unprecedented success. A candid photo of Allison Stoke taken in 2007 changed her life. During the year 2007, everything was different for Allison Stoke. When the athletes turned the corner, they had no idea what awaited them. As a senior in high school, Allison was competing at the national level and was quickly approaching the point where she would become a professional athlete. Keeping up the good work was all that was required of her, and it was possible that it would not be long before all of her dreams finally came true. She appeared only when Allison debuted at the national championship in the same year. Everyone was drawn to her, but it wasn't because of her talents. The fact that Allison was the talk of the stadium was not even due to the records she had set. While waiting for her turn to compete, Allison was captured in a candid photograph. The picture was almost immediately uploaded to a website called With Leather. With Leather got hold of Allison Stoke's photo and spread it online. Undoubtedly, photographs of athletes are not a novel concept. Thousands of photographs are uploaded daily, mainly when they're in the middle of competition season or when they're the ones to witness. The issue was not with the image itself. Instead, it was with the website that managed to obtain it. It had come to light that the song With Leather is primarily directed towards males and has nothing to do with sports or scores. Instead, the website focuses on the physical appearance of individuals and the attractiveness of females. A derogatory title accompanied the photo of Allison, and it wasn't long before users began to discuss how Allison appeared. Although the individual who had taken the picture in the first place was dissatisfied, they threatened the website with legal action. However, it was already too late. A website was created and featured several pictures of Allison Stoke. For Allison Stoke to become the topic of conversation on the internet, all required was a candid photo. It wasn't long before the pole vaulter became the latest viral star as people from far and wide flocked to With Leather. This was just the beginning, as people soon became obsessed with Allison and wanted more photos of the teen. Within a short period, a website showcasing several photographs of Allison competing appeared on the internet. Their fascination was rapidly growing out of control, despite not everyone being there to make harsh comments or be malicious. It seemed as though people had forgotten that Allison was a person. What's the most terrible aspect? Allison's abilities were not mentioned. Instead, the focus was solely on her physical appearance. Even media outlets in Europe were talking about Allison Stoke's photo. If you can believe it, Allison Stoke had no idea how far her photograph spread at the beginning of the process. The moment she became a viral sensation, it was difficult to ignore all the attention coming her way. It was a natural consequence of the phenomenon. This meant that it was only a short time before the media began to take note of Allison's story because of all the talk on the internet. The photo of the pole vaulter was featured in articles published by publications such as the New York Times. Allison's photo quickly became one of the most shared on the internet, and even media outlets as far away as Europe were talking about her and how her photo was quickly becoming extremely popular. These articles were replete with comments that focused on Allison's physical appearance rather than her abilities, which only exacerbated the circumstance. Allison Stoke was forced to hire a media consultant to deal with the attention. It was a complete surprise to everyone that Allison was about to become an overnight sensation. Even though the young lady had aspirations of reaching the pinnacle of her sport, she had no idea that fame would come to her suddenly due to a single, random photograph. It was attention that Allison had never made a request for, and she had no desire to become famous. Unfortunately, it did not appear to be the case that it would disappear anytime soon. Allison was quickly presented with numerous opportunities to participate in photo shoots and brand deals. However, she chose to concentrate on her academic pursuits and pole vaulting, rather than on the attention that was focused on her appearance. In the end, Allison and her family concluded that the most effective course of action would be to seek the assistance of a media consultant in order to attempt to deal with everything. People ignored Allison Stoke's talents and purely focused on her looks. A single thought plagued Allison's mind. The majority of these individuals were not interested in her pole vaulting abilities or the records that she had established. They were only there to talk about how she looked and how much they liked the photo that they'd taken of her at the competition. The fact that Allison had already established an impressive track record for herself was a result of her years of dedication. Allison's accomplishments were not considered by anyone, even though she'd come a long way on her journey. To demonstrate to the world that she was a pole vaulter and not someone to be admired, the young lady decided to record a video of herself in which she discussed all of her aspirations in the realm of athletics. At one point, Allison even entertained quitting the sport entirely. Allison Stokes' parents could see the attention was dragging her down. Alas, the video was Allison's last chance, but unfortunately, it did not have any effect. People continued to focus on the pole vaulter's physical appearance rather than the dreams she held so dear to her heart in the post-comment section. Allison's life turned from the worse due to all the attention she received because she was clueless about redirecting the focus away from her physical appearance and onto her athletic accomplishments. Allison's parents knew that the attention was impacting their daughter significantly, and they were willing to do anything to assist her. It just so happened that her father was a lawyer who decided to look for a legal loophole that could save his daughter. It was unfortunate that he was unable to locate anything. As it turned out, the internet took a lot of work to regulate and control. People wanted to highlight the damaging effects of talking about someone's appearance. The story of Allison gained more and more supporters, and it seemed as though there was finally a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel. Suddenly, people were there to talk about the pole vaulter's athletic abilities rather than her appearance. While they were busy fighting back against people who were only there to talk about Allison's appearance, they brought up the point that focusing on people's appearances can have highly negative consequences. Even CBS ran a story about it because they wanted to demonstrate to the world how much of an impact it can have on a person to talk about how someone looks, particularly on young girls. A perfect illustration of this is Allison's story. There's no way to know the extent of the irreparable harm that the comments could cause to her mental health if they continued for an extended period. All the internet attention began to throw Allison Stokes off her game. She'd been at the top of her game for many years, breaking every pole vaulting record that stood in her way, including her own. Allison Stokes had been at the top of her game for many years, that is, until the candid photo discovered its way onto the internet. The sudden occurrence of everything else going on in Allison's life caused her to become distracted, and she had difficulty focusing on the task at hand when competing. Because she didn't want to be in the public eye, she'd lost interest in the sport she'd been playing. Allison wondered if the stadiums were packed with people because they were trying to get a glimpse of her in real life. Soon after, the young person began to experience a great deal of self-consciousness. Allison could no longer achieve the heights she had previously achieved, and her talent began to diminish. Viral moments usually disappear after a few weeks, but not Allison's photo. A few weeks is typically required for viral moments to disappear from the internet. It's important to remember that the internet is fast-paced because everyone is constantly searching for the next best thing to keep them entertained. Most people do not intentionally seek to become viral, but many take pleasure in their 15 minutes of fame before it's over. And not Allison. In addition to the desire for the attention to cease, she knew it would not disappear. After several months had passed, people continued to talk about her photograph. The fact that she was a fantastic pole vaulter didn't appear to care to anyone. Allison couldn't help but wonder if anyone would notice if she stopped playing the sport and vanished. Even though she tried to suppress the thoughts, they constantly occupied Allison's thoughts. Allison Stokes decided to try and move on with her life. Passage of time continued, and Allison realized that she needed to try to discover a way to move forward with her life. She was faced with a significant choice. Would she allow her internet fame to take over her life, or would she instead work hard to establish a name for herself in the real world? As time passed, Allison became aware that something needed to be altered. Even though it would require for her to remain private, the athlete ignored all the comments and concentrated solely on her studies and pole vaulting. Allison's goal was to graduate from high school and receive a scholarship to attend college. The only way for her to accomplish all her objectives would be to direct all of her efforts towards achieving success. The University of California offered Allison Stokes the lifeline she needed. When the University of California came knocking, it was a relief that someone finally wanted to talk about Allison Stokes' athletic abilities rather than her appearance. The admissions committee informed Allison that she was a talented pole vaulter, so the student was offered a scholarship. Having finally gotten her pole vaulting career back on track, the athlete was relieved to see that someone had ignored the attention that she had received on the internet. That wasn't the end of it. The more time that Allison spent away from the rest of the world and attending college, the more her mental health continued to improve. Allison had a stellar track record in pole vaulting and a master's degree in sociology by the time she finished her time at college. When she graduated, she had both of these accomplishments to her name. Allison finally thought she could proceed with the rest of her life. Everyone thought Allison Stokes would make it to the Olympics. Allison Stokes could devote her full attention to her pole vaulting career because she could avoid the prying eyes of the media and stay away from the internet. Allison continued to compete throughout college, and everyone had high hopes that she'd make it to the Olympics. It was something that she'd fantasized about for many years. Many athletes consider making it to the Olympics to be the pinnacle of success. The fact that you were awarded a medal is merely an additional perk. According to Allison, if she wanted to debut at the Olympic Games in London in 2012, she needed to put in more effort than ever because the Olympics were approaching quickly. In a fortunate turn of events, the pole vaulter had recently cleared an impressive 14 feet, so things looked encouraging. Allison Stokes' Olympic dreams were over before they began. Although it appeared that everything would work out as it should, this did not necessarily mean that everything would fall into place. Unfortunately, Allison Stokes' hopes of competing in the Olympic Games were unrealized. She didn't make it to the Games. After arriving at the qualifiers, the athlete was prepared always to give it her all. At this point, she could not pass the opening height of 13 feet 11 and 1/4 inches, which indicated that the competition was over. Allison was kicked out of the Olympics before getting close to competing in them. Because the Olympics only occur every 4 years, and Allison had already cleared that height during practice, it was a moment in her career that was extremely devastating. Even though she was heartbroken by the loss, the athlete did not intend to let it prevent her from moving forward. A dwindling career meant Allison Stokes had to find another passion. Throughout the majority of her life, Allison Stokes had the ambition to pursue a career as a professional athlete. It appeared that those dreams were getting further and further away until they were almost completely gone. This was a very unfortunate development. Because of this, Allison needed to find a different way to proceed at a rapid pace. In 2015, the athlete took everyone by surprise when she finally accepted offers from several other companies. You heard that correctly. Allison was on the verge of becoming a fitness model. As a result of her previous anxiety regarding the possibility of others commenting on her appearance, many people were curious about how it would function. In a short amount of time, Allison was able to successfully transition into her new career after signing a contract with Nike. An example of the pole vaulter's natural ability to perform in front of the camera is provided here. Allison Stokes hoped her videos would inspire people to try pole vaulting. GoPro was another company with some offers for the athlete, so it wasn't just Nike that was intrigued by the prospect of acquiring her. It was not a street that only went in one direction. Allison believed that the camera company's ability to produce videos could be used for the greater good in various ways. To demonstrate the capabilities of its new cameras and how they could be utilized, GoPro filmed Allison from multiple perspectives. Simply demonstrating her athletic abilities was all that was required of her. Allison had high hopes that the videos would be sufficient to encourage young people to take up the sport and give it a shot for themselves. Most of us have not attempted pole vaulting at any point. Simply witnessing the joy that Allison was experiencing could be all that's required to motivate an entire generation. Modeling took Allison Stokes' attention away from pole vaulting. Everything was going swimmingly for 1 year, but that was about to change for the better. Allison Stokes contracted with Uniqlo to showcase the brand's most recent collections. Nevertheless, the model and athlete realized that she had strayed from the activity that had previously brought her great joy, pole vaulting. Allison felt lost amid everything, even though these shoots had nothing to do with the sport. What was the essence of her efforts if she could not preserve her identity and alter people's perceptions despite years of laborious efforts to bring about change? One more significant event in Allison's career occurred in the year 2016. She decided to give up modeling to devote her attention to the activities that brought her the most joy. Fans spotted Allison Stoke on a potential date with golfer Rickie Fowler. As it turned out, Allison Stoke was also thinking about something else, and something arose in the form of Rickie Fowler, a professional golfer. As they were seen out and about toward the end of 2016, people started to speculate about whether or not the two were involved in a covert, affectionate relationship. Because Allison was such a prominent figure in her teenage years, she made it a point to keep her personal life hidden from the public eye. However, everything appeared to change after she became acquainted with Rickie. Two of the most famous athletes in the world were seen together at a motocross Grand Prix, where they appeared to be getting quite close to one another. Even though they might not have been subtle, neither of them was prepared to discuss the possibility of their relationship developing further down the road. Allison Stoke and Rickie Fowler have plenty of things in common. Even though it's commonly believed that opposites attract, Allison and Rickie did not come together because they shared many similarities. Since Rickie has been playing golf ever since he was a child, it was not surprising that they both had the same dream of becoming famous athletes when they were young. Rickie is now someone to watch because of his drive and ambition, but this was only sometimes the case. Rickie was one of the athletes selected to compete at the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. He was fortunate enough to be chosen. Regrettably, the golfer finished in 37th place and did not even come close to winning any medals. The golfer, Rickie, has not let this deter him from giving his absolute best effort, as evidenced by his participation in the Masters tournament in 2018, where he achieved an impressive second-place finish. Rickie Fowler knows what it's like to go viral thanks to a photo. It may surprise you, but it turns out that Allison Stoke and Rickie Fowler share more in common than their respective sporting careers. They've experienced what it's like to have a video go viral. Rickie, like Allison, did not ask for his moment in the spotlight. Instead, he found himself in the spotlight by accident. He became the topic of conversation on the internet. At the Ryder Cup in 2016, the golfer was a team member that competed for the championship. Unbelievably, the team triumphed and earned the cup for the United States of America for the very first time in many years. The team's victory was a source of joy for everyone, including the partners of each team member. When the golfers were leaning over and kissing their partners, they all lined up for a photograph. What exactly is the issue? Rickie was the only person there who was not in a relationship. One of Rickie Fowler's friends revealed he was in a relationship. Allison and Rickie wanted to keep their relationship a secret from the general public for a very good reason. It was revealed that they desired to determine how they felt about one another and decide whether or not there was a future for them in that relationship without the involvement of the rest of the world. Everything was going beautifully until one of Rickie's friends made a mistake and divulged some information. When Rickie's golfing partner was giving an interview to the press, he disclosed why Rickie had neglected to attend a meeting earlier in the day. Because he wasn't single. He admitted that the golfer was caught up in the situation. It was possible that it was a minor error, but it was all the press required to get away with many stories. Allison and Rickie decided to tell the world about their relationship. It did not take long for news organizations nationwide to realize that Rickie Fowler was dating none other than Allison Stoke. They were able to piece together the information in a short amount of time. The couple revealed the truth about their relationship because they knew the media would not disappear anytime soon. When all was said and done, the secret had already been revealed. What did they have to lose? In addition, by disclosing their relationship, Rickie and Allison were freed from the obligation of keeping their emotions to themselves. The couple quickly became the most popular on social media by posting pictures of themselves spending time together away from the press. Naturally, the paparazzi still attempted to capture a photograph of the couple whenever they were out and about exploring the world. Being open about their relationship meant Rickie and Allison were spotted in public. When Allison Stoke and Rickie Fowler revealed their relationship to the world, they could immediately take advantage of all the advantages of being in a relationship. Among the many things they could now do without drawing attention to themselves, one of them was to show up at all of Ricky's golf tournaments. Allison was observed on the sidelines briefly, strolling around the course with her new boyfriend. Although she might have remained silent and allowed Ricky to continue with his game whenever he was on the course, her presence was sufficient to support the golfer. To perform to the best of our abilities, having our loved ones by our side may be enough. Allison undoubtedly garnered much attention during her appearance at the United States Open alongside her love interest. Ricky's coach feared his relationship with Allison Stoke was a distraction. Because we're beginning a new relationship, it may be necessary for us to make some adjustments to our lives. What happens when you realize you're completely and utterly smitten with the person by your side? When someone wants to spend all their time with the person they love, they may become a little distracted quickly. In the case of Rickie Fowler, this was most certainly the case. Ricky's golf coach was concerned that his relationship with Allison was causing him to become overly distracted, which was beginning to prevent him from performing at his best. Through the years, the golfer has put much effort into advancing his career. Was he going to get rid of everything on the table? To Ricky's relief, it appears that the distractions were insufficient to hold him off for an excessively long period. Allison Stoke had never played golf before she started dating Rickie Fowler. Both Allison and Ricky had a lot to learn about one another, even though they shared a lot of similarities about themselves, such as their love of sports and their time spent as viral stars. Before meeting Ricky and falling in love with him, Allison had never really played golf before. This was about to change, as she was now accompanied by one of the most accomplished golfers in the world. Even though Ricky was there to provide her with all the necessary coaching, it appears that the pole vaulter has adapted to the sport relatively easily. Although indeed Allison is not yet prepared to outperform Ricky on the green, this athlete is frequently seen working on her swing and refining her skills as she learns everything there is to know about the activity that brings her man so much joy. Allison Stoke has learned how to put the past behind her. The life that Allison would carve out for herself after she found herself the talk of the internet by accident was never something that anyone could have predicted. There was a period when the pressure of fame was sufficient to cause Allison to regularly question her commitment to the sport. If she'd given in, Allison would have not only found a new way to live her life, but she would have also lost the passion that she had originally had. Thankfully, the pole vaulter has acquired the ability to put her past in the past and carve out a new path for herself in the larger world. Allison has a lot to be proud of because she's always put in a lot of effort throughout her life, even though some of her dreams, such as becoming a professional athlete and competing in the Olympics, did not always come true. The candid photo from 2007 has not become Allison Stoke's alter ego. More than a decade has passed since the world first began to talk about Allison Stoke, and it's come to light that the pole vaulter has been forced to put a significant distance between herself and many aspects of her life. The fact that Allison did not want the fame and attention she received when she was only 17 years old does not mean she's forgotten everything that took place. Because of this, the athlete now has a fresh perspective on the situation. Allison disclosed her true identity during an interview, revealing that the young person depicted in the photograph is now her alter ego. The athlete appears to think that Allison, as described in the picture, is an entirely different person. Nevertheless, this does not imply that everything has been missed. When achieving her objectives, Allison will occasionally revert to her previous self. The Rio Olympic Games in 2016 became Allison Stoke's new goal. Things were meant to be different regarding the Olympic Games held in London in 2012. On the other hand, this did not imply that Allison had wholly abandoned her hopes of competing in the 2016 Olympic Games. There was still a significant amount of time left in her career, and she desired to realize her most ambitious goal of becoming a pole vaulter. Allison decided to train more diligently than ever before to achieve her goal of competing in the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. When Allison committed a significant amount of time each week to the sport, things went swimmingly. Regrettably, it was never intended to happen. A couple of years before the Olympics, Allison's performance began to decline, and she was well aware that she would never be able to achieve the level of success that she had previously achieved. Her retirement from the sport was announced. A viral photo meant Alison Stoke put pole vaulting on the map. Although Alison Stoke put in much effort over many years, she could never achieve her Olympic goals. The fact that everything was in vain did not imply that it was. In pole vaulting, Alison accomplished a great deal and established several records. The athlete was also instrumental in bringing the sport to the general public's attention and introducing a significant number of people to the world of athletics. Pole vaulting could have been better liked for a considerable amount of time. To tell the truth, most people were never allowed to participate in the sport, which resulted in an ever-increasing number of competitors each year. This is something that's changed over the past 10 years, as athletes such as Sandy Morris and Eliza McCartney have arisen through the ranks of the sport. Regrettably, much of the attention is still focused on their physicality. Some people still focus on pole vaulters for their appearance. Numerous individuals have devoted their entire lives to the cause of ensuring that all individuals, regardless of who they are or what they look like, are treated fairly in the realm of sports. Despite this, we've yet to accomplish our objective. There's still a significant distance to travel. Comparisons of the most attractive pole vaulters from the Rio Olympics began appearing on several websites in 2016. Even though people continue to talk about the athletes because of their appearance, Alison's legacy is not always positive. Even though we still have much work, some individuals have altered their behavior since 2007. As they spoke about their abilities rather than appearance, many comments referred to the competitors by names such as fearless and other descriptors considered to be strong leads. Various fans are only just discovering Alice Stoke's viral photo. When a photograph is uploaded to the internet, it perpetuates. Indeed, individuals can make an effort to have all copies removed. However, the internet is a vast place, and if you're not careful, things can spread like wildfire. Alison is still forced to deal with the consequences of the photograph taken all those years ago. According to the athlete, some fans still contact her to discuss the picture, despite the fact that they've only recently become aware of her story. Regrettably, not all the messages are enjoyable to read. On the other hand, Alison claims she's acquired the ability to dismiss and forget about them entirely due to years of professional experience. Compared to when she was in high school, she's now in a much better place. The University of California had to remove all traces of Alison Stoke. Alison Stoke quickly realized that while she was a student, other people would not leave her alone. This was something she learned very quickly. Regardless of how hard she tried, there was no way she could ever avoid being discovered. Photos of Alison can be found on the University of California's website, and she's considered one of the university's most accomplished athletes. Nevertheless, they were required to take them down and eliminate any trace of the athlete because it was attracting excessive attention that was not wanted. It would have been possible for Alison to make a significant amount of money off her viral photo if she had accepted all of the job offers that were presented to her. What exactly is the issue? It was never Alison's intention to become famous. In contrast, the athlete desired to lead an everyday life without media scrutiny. Alison Stoke never understood why the world chose her over everyone else. One of the primary things that Alison Stoke found to be highly bothersome about the attention was that it distracted her from her abilities as a pole vault enthusiast. On the other hand, that was not the only thing that caused the athlete to feel upset. Even though she knew there were many other talented pole vaulters at the time, she was still perplexed why the world had chosen her as their primary focus. Alison believed they deserved publicity and that she had not earned her place in the spotlight. Could you have been in the wrong place at the wrong time? Could it be that there was something truly remarkable about that photograph? Why was it that everyone in the world was so interested in learning everything there was to know about her life? Since she was 13 years old, Alison has been struggling to find answers to all these questions. Her self-doubts caused Alison Stoke to shy away from the limelight. In addition to the thoughts racing through Alison's head, there was more to them. Because she believed she did not merit the attention being paid to her, the athlete would purposely avoid receiving a significant amount of it. According to Alison, she'd not broken any deemed impossible records, and she was still far from reaching the pinnacle of her career. The young child could not comprehend why anyone would be interested in seeing her featured in a magazine spread or on a talk show. After everything was said and done, Allison turned down every offer in the hope that ignoring the fame would cause it to become less noticeable. To shed new light on the matter, reaching higher heights and scoring higher in competitions could have been beneficial. On the other hand, the entire world would have continued to discuss Allison's physical appearance nonetheless. Many people in Allison Stokes' family were affected by the photo. A life-altering event is often enough to cause even the most optimistic of us to contemplate how things might have turned out differently. The fact that we are not the only ones impacted by something significant is something that many of us tend to forget. The photo of Allison Stoke, who was only 17 years old, went viral on the internet. She had not yet graduated from high school and was still living at home with her parents, who were compelled to watch everything happening. As the photograph garnered more and more attention, the athlete's parents could not take any effective action to assist their child. The only thing they could do was make an effort to console Allison as her world crashed around her. Because she was such a significant part of the internet, Allison was compelled to mature and gave up her childhood innocence. Everything hit Allison Stoke when she was studying at college. On the other hand, even though Allison has made significant progress throughout her life, the impact of her photo being posted on the internet has left an indelible mark on her life, and it's not likely to disappear soon. Even though she's unsure whether or not she'll ever be able to overcome the trauma she experienced during her teenage years, Allison is willing to give it her all. During her time at college, it appears that Allison realized that everything significantly impacted her. Her professor requested that she compose a paper on a particular event that profoundly affected her life on an emotional level. It should come as no surprise that she chose to make the photograph the focal point of her narrative. Despite this, Allison was so troubled by the feelings that she never decided to share the assignment with anyone else. Allison Stoke thinks things would have been different if she was a man. If she became a viral pole vaulter, did Allison Stoke experience any positive outcomes due to her experience? A small portion of the athletes were elated by the sheer attention paid to them. When all was said and done, they discussed Allison because they found her attractive. On the other hand, that fact alone was insufficient to transform the entire situation into a positive experience. Allison's belief that a man would not have been treated similarly was strengthened by the whole event in which she was involved. She believes she worked just as hard, if not harder, than any male athletes, but that all that was forgiven as soon as someone thought she was attractive. The athlete in question believes that she worked just as hard. What's the most terrible aspect? It continues to occur today, and Allison is aware of how many women feel about it. Having her friends close helped Allison Stoke deal with the tough times. One thing that many of us have realized throughout our lives is that our friends can assist us in overcoming the majority of the challenges that we face in life. Would you happen to need someone to lift your spirits? Have a wonderful time, and do you want to celebrate? Want to create some memories that'll last a lifetime with the people you care about? No matter the situation, our friends are always there to support us and have our backs. The fact that being surrounded by our friends can be helpful when we need them the most is something that Allison learned more than the majority of us. It's possible that the athlete would not have been able to make it through the challenging years if she'd not been surrounded by the love and support of her close friends. As a matter of great relief, Allison appears surrounded by abundant love from her friends. Allison Stoke has inspired others with her resilience and strength. Being courageous and fighting back against the haters and people who were only there to talk about her appearance has made Allison Stoke one of the industry's most influential figures. She had no idea she would become one of the most influential figures in the industry all those years ago. She was depressed for several years due to it. On the other hand, Allison learned how to channel their attention into a constructive experience. Throughout her career, she secured several brand deals and climbed the ranks of the pole vaulting competition. In addition, she's demonstrated to the world that nothing can stop her from achieving her goals. It would have been possible for Allison to avoid social media and spend the rest of her life attempting to stay away from everyone. As for the truth, she's recovered and is now providing her numerous followers on social media with updates on her life. Rickie Fowler proposed to Allison Stoke in June 2018. One of the most beautiful aspects of learning how to open up is that it allows the entire world to witness the progression of Allison Stoke and Rickie Fowler's relationship from one level of success to another. You're probably familiar with couples that make you want to grab your significant other and show them how much you care about one another. Indeed, they're the same. Things appear to go from strength to strength, a source of satisfaction. When the golfer proposed to Allison in June of 2018, the couple had been dating for approximately 18 months since the proposal. The couple informed their loved ones about the news, and it didn't take long before many fans worldwide wanted to express their congratulations. Suddenly, the newly engaged couple had to begin preparing for their wedding. Rickie Fowler and Allison Stoke tied the knot in October 2019. Before the couple finally tied the knot, Rickie didn't ask the big question until after more than a year had passed. On the other hand, it appears that the couple had many things planned out. The athlete posted a few photographs from the wedding day on her social media accounts a few days after the event, which took place on October 5th, 2019. Allison and Rickie officially tied the knot on that day. It's unsurprising that Allison maintains a high level of discretion regarding certain aspects of her life, but she couldn't help but flaunt her big day with Rickie as they exchanged vows on the beach. She couldn't help but show off her big day. Allison wowed the crowd with her floor-length dress and delicate flowing lace veil, while the scene was prearranged with a delicate arch adorned with flowers. People believed that Rickie and Allison had secretly started a family. When people reach their senior years and begin to settle down with their loved ones, there are a few things that they anticipate seeing. Many people have been wondering when Allison Stoke and Rickie Fowler will finally be able to hear the sounds of little feet stepping away. When Allison posted a picture in June 2019, it appeared that some individuals have been granted their wishes. The photo was taken with the caption, "Fam," and it showed Rickie and Allison holding twins. Was this the end of the story? Was it a secret that the couple had been expecting a set of twins to enter the world? It's come to light that the individuals in question were a little too optimistic, as the children in question are the couple's nephews. People continue to operate under the assumption that Rickie and Allison had secretly begun a family, even though this was not the case. A lot's changed for Allison Stoke in the last 10 years. In 10 years, a lot of things can change. A few of us secure the job of our dreams. A few of us decided to start a family. There are even some of us who scale the heights of fame. Who is this Allison Stoke? She's mastered the art of coping with fame that appeared out of nowhere, fought against those who believed she was nothing more than her appearance, and discovered the person who will become her lifelong companion. The problematic years that Allison has been going through in her life appear to be finally behind her, as she now has a lot of things to look forward to with her new family. Allison certainly has a lot of reasons to be proud of herself, considering that she's accomplished a great deal in the realm of athletics and that her life has been full of highs and lows. The question that needs to be answered is, what could come next for the celebrity? If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon